let us travel back in time. Year 1986. I have received as a wedding gift my first Bernina. It is an 11:30. I'm working at a fabric store in the DC area, Washington, DC. Yes, I was born in Washington, DC. Thank you very much. If it's tourist season, why can't we shoot them? And I have a Bernina. And I have been taught that when unthreading my machine, I should clip the thread somewhere before it goes into the tension discs and pull the thread out from the needle or above the needle out forwards direction, not backwards up to the spool, but forwards out through the needle. This is to keep the tension discs as clean and functional as possible, because abrasion at the tension discs means inconsistent tension, which means horrible stitch quality and an expensive repair. 1986. Think about that one. 1986. Ha! So, I then fast forward to now. A woman on YouTube has told people that they need to clip the thread back here and pull it forward and not backwards to avoid a very expensive repair. Tension discs, important pieces of your machine. Hello. And people are giving her grief because, oh my goodness, isn't that wasteful of thread? No. Expensive repair. I measured, and if I'm using my thread trimmer down here, and I trim up here, and I pull my thread out, it is 24 inches of thread. And the woman said, oh, no, 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 no. I am not wasteful of thread because I take this plastic bag and I put the thread into this plastic bag and then I use it for hand sewing. Really? So you use a plastic bag to save 24 inches of thread to use later if it hasn't turned into a tangled wadded knot while dumped into this plastic bag. And you're thinking, oh, this is saving me thread. I like to use superior brand thread. I've gone through many different brands of thread. I started with Coats and Clark's because that was what my mother used. The polyester, the cotton wrapped polyester thread, which is very good cotton and it isn't very good polyester. And no, I do not recommend Coats and Clark's. It is not my favorite brand of thread. I have tried wildly expensive cotton threads, everything from 12 weight to 60 weight. And if you give me a choice, I'm going to actually say polyester, 50 weight. I buy it from an online source, which frequently has sales, and the spool of thread, cone of thread actually, that I am using is so fine. It is a 50 weight polyester and there are 3,280 yards of thread on a single spool. And I believe I paid $12 for this spool of thread. Yeah. If because I am crazy, you do the math, like I did, you will determine that at $12 for this much thread, 24 inches of thread is somewhere in the neighborhood of 1/3 of 1 cent worth of thread. Now, the list price on my current sewing machine, I love her dearly. Her name is Demon, and she makes me so happy. She does what I want her to do. I can tap on the screen and make her do exactly what I want her to do. But the list price on this machine is $22,000, not including sales tax. I am sewing using a table which raises, lowers, and the sewing machine itself will raise and lower on its stand. And it's really, really easy for me to switch from flatbed sewing to attaching the embroidery module, raising my machine, taking this off, attaching the embroidery module, doing embroidery, and then lowering it back down with my custom cutout. I got this on sale for about $4,500. Now, when you add in my lights and my iron and top of the line Rowenta, I am very happy with it. And all of my lights and my cutting table and my custom ironing table, blah, 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 blah. I've probably got in the neighborhood of $50,000 invested in my studio. I'm not bragging. This did not happen overnight. This happened over many years of not doing things like going out to dinner, not buying Starbucks, saving my money. Yes, I know how to save money. My God, my mother could tear a Kleenex in half. I know how to save money. But I am not going to save 1/3 of 1 cent on 24 inches of thread, which I purchased at a 40% discount, because somebody thinks it's wasteful to take 24 inches of thread out of 3,280 yards and remove it from the tension discs so I don't have a very expensive repair. No, it ain't worth it. It is so not worth it to me to save 1/3 of 1 cent while avoiding an expensive repair. I know that many people need to watch their pennies, and pennies turn into dollars, and dollars turn into lots of money. But after many years of sewing everything up to and including my own underwear, and being raised on a half a Kleenex at a time, I don't need to save 1/3 of 1 cent. I'm just fine with taking that thread out of the machine, wadding it up into my hands, and casting it down into the trash can. From this, I am not going to become homeless pushing my Bernina around wrapped in plastic bags in a shopping cart out on the street. It ain't happening. It just isn't. It ain't gonna happen. Saving 1/3 of 1 cent isn't worth it to me. It might be worth it to you. You might need to save that 1/3 of a cent. And I will tell you that the woman clipped off the thread, put her thread into a plastic bag and used it for her hand sewing because 24 inches is actually a very useful and appropriate length for a hand sewing thing. But I'm also going to tell you, I spent this much money on my machine so I don't have to hand sew because I don't want to hand sew. So saving thread so that I can use it for hand sewing is not advantageous for me. I'm perfectly happy to throw it away. 1/3 of a cent at a time.